Alright guys, this is episode 2 in honor of the living legend, the great Paul Mooney, entitled The Nigga Wake Up Call. The second inductee into this hall of shame is none other than our brother, Jussie Smollett. The actor-singer was just recently charged for disorderly conduct and falsifying a police statement and is now facing 3 years in prison. On January 22nd, Smollett reported to police that he was attacked by 2 masked men near a Subway restaurant at 2 a.m. He claims that the attacks were homophobic and racial in nature. He claims that the attackers called him a nigger and a faggot and tried to tie a noose around his neck during the struggle.
What happened that night, Jussie?
When I landed in Chicago, and Frank Gatson, who's like my uncle, and he's also my creative director, and he picked me up. And then we got back to the apartment. There was no food. And so I went out to Walgreens thinking that they were 24 hours and to have a smoke. Walgreens was closed. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'm gonna run to Subway, which was across the street, and I'm gonna get a salad. Do you want anything? I went to the Subway and got the order. During that time, I texted my manager thinking that he was still in Australia because he was on an Australian tour with one of his other clients. And I said, yo, call me when you can. He called me immediately. And while he was on the phone, I heard, as I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire. And I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire. And I didn't answer. I kept walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, did you just say to me? And I see the attacker masked. And he said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face. So I punched his ass back. And then we started tussling. You know, it was very icy. And we ended up tussling by the stairs. Fighting. There was a second person involved who was kicking me in my back. And then it just stopped. Then I looked down and I see that there's a rope around my neck, which I hadn't.
You hadn't noticed it before?
No,
you didn't
because
see?
It was so fast. You know what I'm saying? It was so fast.
It was later confessed that Smollett fabricated the incident and paid 2 brothers to attack him so he could release the story with authenticity to gain notoriety and remain relevant in the entertainment community. We are going to review this situation from a spiritual perspective. I'm going to make this very clear. This is not an attack against homosexuals. You can lick it, flip it, stick it, do whatever you want. That's your business. But when it comes to the word of the Most High God and using the scriptures to edify my people, to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, then that is my business. And I'm about to handle my business. So if you are easily offended by the words of the Most High God, then this is not for you. Back in 2015, Smollett was interviewed by Ellen DeGeneres, and he professed to the world that he was indeed a homosexual.
Well, no, it was very, very important to me that as my first, performance and talk show, that it was with you. You've been such an inspiration to so many, but also to me. What you've done in the LGBT community is very much, in my opinion, what Michael Jackson did with the Black community. Just that you are who you are, and he was just Michael, and you're just Ellen. So, it was really important to me to make sure that it got across that there is no closet. There's never been a closet that I've been in. I don't own a closet.
Right.
I have a dresser.
Right.
But I don't have a closet.
Right.
But I have a home, and that is my responsibility to protect that home.
Right.
So that's why I choose not to talk about my personal life, but there is, without a doubt, no closet that
Yep.
I've ever been in.
Yep.
And I just wanted to make that clear, but it was most important for me to make that clear to you on your show at this time in the world.
Romans chapter 1, verse 26 through 28. Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lust. Even their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed shameful acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. Furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind, so that they do what ought not to be done. The definition of depraved is morally corrupt and wicked. When you willfully sin, you open yourself to demonic intervention. I don't know about you, but in my wildest imagination, I have never contemplated paying someone to whoop my ass for attention. That is the pinnacle of a depraved, reprobate mind. Not only did this foolish concocted story affect the life of Smollett in the most negative way possible, but it also affected the life of two other black men, Nigerian actors Abel and Ola Osendero. The two brothers were also charged in the conspired incident and could possibly be facing prison time as well. The two brothers recently filed for bankruptcy prior to the attack, and Smollett paid the actors $3,500 for their involvement. These two men could have and should have said no when approached to participate in this plan, but a desperate man would do just about anything to support himself. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 33. Bad company ruins good morals. These two brothers put themselves in a precarious position by aligning themselves with a prideful sinner. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. The fear of the Lord is hatred of evil. Pride and arrogance and the way of evil and perverted speech I hate. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 5. Everyone who is arrogant in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Be assured, he will not go unpunished. So to my brothers and sisters out there, you must be careful who you align yourself with. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 2. When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with the humble is wisdom. To say Jussie Smollett is in a place of disgrace is an understatement, but Jussie Smollett, this is your nigga wake up call.
Wake up, nigga.
And until next time, I'm out.